This is Mike Money for the Money Pit, along with Jacob Carver from
The Butcher Shop
and B. Brian Butcher Blair from
Midnight's Gaming Emporium.
You had to think a minute. We're going to do wrestling from the 70s.
I'm not that old, but I'll sit in.
Okay. So we're going to talk about some different wrestlers that were popular when we were kids and watched. Well, when me and he were kids. He's a youngster. And I know somebody's
It's
going
like 1 year younger than us.
Someone's going to
1 year
mention...
younger than me, like, you're older.
Someone's going to mention... Mil Mascaras.
Like
Who's
27
that?
times.
Who's Mil Mascaras?
Okay, I'll start with when I was champion. When I first started watching, Bruno Sammartino was the champion, and everybody said Hogan couldn't wrestle. Well, if you ever watched old matches of Bruno Sammartino, he couldn't wrestle either, but he was their popular guy, the big wop from wherever the hell he was from.
Philly.
Oh, Philly? No,
Philly.
I don't think so.
Bruno from, like, Philly. Because it was, Larry Zbyszko was from, like, Pittsburgh.
Yes.
And it was like a rival.
Maybe.
Larry Zbyszko.
Good name.
And,
he's on the list. Larry Zbyszko was one of my
it
favorites.
was always the rivalry between...
You want to talk about?
The main one I can remember was Ivan Putski, just because of all the steroids he was on. I mean, the guy could barely, like, walk and lift his arms.
Right.
He literally had, what, about 3 moves that he did?
Yeah. The Polish Power.
Yeah.
Then you got superstar Billy Graham, who everybody, there it is, not that one, the first one, not the bald head guy. He came in the 80s later, but he became champion. He was Hulk Hogan before Hulk Hogan was. Hogan will tell you he ripped his gimmick off. Jesse the Body will tell you he ripped his gimmick off. You didn't have anybody, bad guy, that talked on the mic and could actually wrestle like Superstar. Okay, Pedro Morales, you sort of remember him. What about your boy there, Jacob?
My boy back in the day was Bob Backlund, and don't fucking know why I like Bob Backlund as a face, because if you watch his matches now, he's obviously one of the shittiest wrestlers.
I'll tell you why.
I'll admit that.
I'll tell you why I didn't like him, but go ahead, finish up your...
But back then, you know, you saw this like clean-cut guy, and before I was the hard ass that I am now, or whatever.
The man he is today. Woo!
Yeah, I like the baby faces, and before I realized wrestling was a work.
Okay, I was not a big fan of Backlund because every match it seemed he would get in trouble. He would go in the ring apron, put his finishing maneuver, the chicken wing, on outside the ring, get counted out. So he would lose the match but keep the belt. Really, that's what the heels did. To me, that's almost what somebody will talk about in a different episode. Woo! Used to do all the time. But he doesn't catch shit for it. Okay,
Now,
go ahead.
Got to get into the Mil Mascaras stuff.
What about it?
Little trivia point for him. When he wrestled in Madison Square Garden, they had a ban on masks. And they lifted it just for him.
Interesting.
And he wrestled the spoiler, but he had to take his mask off for the mask.
I did not know that. That is an awesome point.
Good point.
Okay.
Good point, Butcher Brian. Good point.
Yep.
One of the original hardcore guys that doesn't get credit is Dusty Rhodes. People don't realize this. As it was pointed out to me tonight, he was a heel when he first came into the WWF. I don't remember that. I remember the Texas Outlaws, but again, that'll be on another one later.
His debut match in WWF.
Who did he wrestle?
Whatever. He was a heel.
I believe you. I don't remember it. You've seen it
Because he came
longer
in,
than
he
me.
had his head shaved up and everything else, and back in them days, I don't really remember exactly who he wrestled, but he was definitely a bad guy.
Some of the other ones, I'll go back to our favorites in a minute. Ivan Koloff actually pinned Superstar. He pinned Bruno Sammartino cleanly for the belt, which was unheard of. When the heel won, they had to cheat. He pinned him cleanly, middle of the ring. He did that move we just watched with the knee to the back, by the way. We couldn't think of who did it. It was Ivan Koloff, the Russian Bear.
The Russian Bear.
Andre the Giant probably started in the late 60s, but we would have saw him here at the time. Jesse the Body Ventura, not as great of a wrestler, but awesome on the mic. He became more famous in the 80s as a ring announcer. Ken Patera, He was
The
a really
world's
good one.
strongest man.
Yeah. How about Stan Hansen?
Stan.
The
The man.
Lariat.
Lariat Hansen. Okay. Somebody I really marked on. Chief J. Strongbow. Don't know why. When I found out years later he was Italian, not an Indian, it sort of bothered me, but it shouldn't.
Yeah, but how many people
I know.
over the years...
We're not even going to get into that on this one.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about when Chief J hulked up. You know what I mean? Woo! A lot of people hulked up. So
Yeah.
a lot of people probably stole Chief J's Hulk Hogan.
He was doing the Indian War dance.
Yeah, but I'm saying...
At the end of we'll go back to this at the end of this episode because we'll delve into more of that because I did mention about Hogan ripping somebody off. So we will go back to that. Okay. Also one that me and the Butcher liked was Tony Garea. It didn't matter who you put him with. I swear to God, he had 6 different tag reigns. Dino, Haystacks Calhoun, Tony Garea. Oh, yeah, Tony Garea and Tony Garea.
That was a hell of a good tag team there.
Rick Martel. I think even Zabisco, they had. Is this so many? I'd have to look it up.
Yep.
Because it was so
And he
many.
was just he was just so good to watch in the ring. He was just really talented at putting the other people over.
Exactly.
And I mean, even his tag team partners, he always was such good. I mean, he's probably one of the most underrated wrestlers
I agree.
of that era.
He was a consummate professional.
Yep.
Okay, the High Chief Peter Maeva. Just for some of you marks watching now, it's The Rock's granddaddy. He hit Rocky Johnson, who I don't know why I didn't write down. Him and Tony Atlas would have been. They might have been early '80s. But Rocky Johnson married Peter Maeva's daughter, who became The Rock's mom. Anybody we talked about this Samoan, you can trace back to who's your favorite tag team?
The Wild Samoans.
Afa and Sika, and then they brought in Samula, which was a joke. But yeah, I have to do a story on this. When I first thought I wanted to be a wrestler when he used to carry on his kids, me and Jeff Cohn were the Samoans. Jeffa and Micah. Go figure. I had to bring that up. But anyway, the Valiants, Jimmy and Johnny, and didn't Johnny die like recently? He walked out in the middle of the road and got hit?
Yeah.
Really? What is it, Justy's dad? Revisited?
There was a Jimmy, Johnny, Jerry Valiant.
Yeah, Jerry too. Jerry and Johnny might have been the originals. Jimmy might have came later. The Boogie Woogie Man. There you go. You were talking about them. What about
the Blackjacks?
which were?
Blackjack Mulligan and
You
No
remember?
Mascaras.
Blackjack Lanza.
Blackjack Lanza. Yeah.
The
I get confused because Barry Windham was Blackjack Mulligan's son. So,
Yes.
You know, they probably had a tag team incarnated as the Blackjacks somewhere.
Probably in Florida, which we'll
Probably
get to
in
in a
Florida.
future episode. The Executioners, bunch of bums in masks. We won't even. One of them was Killer Kowalski, but we don't know. The Moondogs, Rex, Spot, and whatever the
King.
hell, Rover, yeah, King.
King. But we're talking tag team,
Yeah.
not a 6-man tag.
Some of the greatest managers of this era, the Grand Wizard, Classy Freddie Blassie had a song, the Pencil Neck Geek.
Yep. And
I guess
Lou
he
Albano.
Lou Albino. Albano, you're right. We'll go back to what my buddy was saying about Chief J. We'll tie it all up. It's like a Seinfeld episode. It's all going to come together now. Hogan ripped off 3 people to make his character. His hawking up was the Indian War Dance. His old gimmick was Superstar Billy Graham, the rap and all that. And when he called everybody brother, that was Jimmy the Superfly Snuka calling everybody brother. So Hogan just basically took 3 characters, put it together, and the rest is history. I think the only time I've ever rooted for him was when he beat the Iron Sheik, because we all hated the Sheik.
Yeah.
After that, it was like, would somebody beat this bum? Even NWO Hogan, it lost its appeal. Was not a fan. Anyway, anything else you guys want to say?
No.
Any other 70s?
No.
We covered that?
You
All
got
right.
that pretty good, I think.
Well, Brian the Butcher,
Jacob
Jacob
Carver.
Carver, and Mike Money's saying, fuck off.
Cha-ching.
There you go.
No Mascaras.
Go-